Reach Adamire, take out the Crown Killer, and find out where Sokolov was taken. The alchemist, Hypatia. She'll help if she can. Sokolov likes her.
I'll see you later at Adamire. Just wait to bring up the boat until after I've disabled the watchtower.
Hello there, and welcome back to the Dishonored 2 appendices, where we play as Corvo. I've heard of lemmings jumping into the sea, but never rats. This game is so silly at times. So what we're going to be discussing today primarily are the differences between New Game and New Game Plus. The first of which is rather immediately apparent. Any runes that you picked up on previous playthroughs in a New Game Plus run are carried over, and thus you start with the ability to buy pretty much any power your little heart could desire. And you are given plenty of choices because regardless of which character you play as, you have both of their power sets available to purchase. New Game Plus in Dishonored 2 is probably the best implementation of New Game Plus I've seen in a video game. So, having sped through making all those purchases, we now have all sorts of powers at our disposal. For the most part, I'm going to be focusing on Corvo's powers in particular, since we'll never be seeing those as a New Game Emily run. But I'll be showing off as many as I possibly can, and all the fun combinations I can think of. But before we get around to that, let's discuss some of the more basic abilities that we'll be making use of. For one, we're already making good use of our enhanced running speed. Very useful for getting from A to B. Also very useful from getting from point A to B, Corvo's Blink. At least if you're not me and you don't screw up like that. So, as I mentioned when discussing Emily's Far Reach, Corvo's Blink differs in that it does not take physics into consideration. Wherever you point your cursor is where you'll be warped to. Physics be damned. And this makes it, for transportation purposes at least, so much more useful than Far Reach. Especially if you end up picking up the upgrade, which we did here, that makes it so that time freezes whenever you use it, thus giving you all the time in the world to make sure you warp exactly where you want to go to. Also of great utility is Shadow Kill. If you're gonna be lethal, it is a must-have. Being able to dispose of corpses without having to drag them yourself, invaluable. And as you may have noticed there, rather than picking up a new blueprint when we acquired that blueprint, we got 200 coins instead. We'll see exactly why that is when we get to the black market.
You know that was supposed to go to us. What are we supposed to do now? We're out of money.
Look at him. He's in on it. What was your cut, Ramus? Gutless merchants are all the same. Hands out, begging and whining.
Tell the truth for once, you lying coward. What did you make on this, Ramus?
Say one more word, Maya. I'm finished with this guy. Let's rush him. Ramus, you worm.
Lying sack of shit. Turned on your own people.
That's it. You pushed me. This is your fault.
A body here?
Something wrong?
Huh? What?
So, things played out quite a bit differently here. This is not a function of New Game Plus, but the fact that we are doing a high chaos run. By causing all sorts of deaths, all sorts of chaos, things are just grimmer in general. Also, I missed this boat here, so let's listen to this audiograph.
Manual. Halfway up, a cable broke and we lost 11 workers. They never even made it into the mine. Those cables weren't made to carry so many people. You pack enough of them in, even kids, and it adds up. After that, the sickness spread through the crew bunkhouses. That woman from Adamire, Alexandria Hypatia, she used to treat the workers, but she doesn't come around anymore. So what all this means is that we need more workers. There are always people coming to Serkonos looking for a better life. We'll get them into the mines, if I have to club them over the head myself.
Jeez, never mind our high chaos influence. The Dishonored world is grim enough already. That won't be the first mention of mines in this playthrough. They are a rather important staple of Kanaka's economy, and they will be coming up in the future to various degrees. Just making use of our foreknowledge here again. Very useful treasure trove for either character, since it has both lethal and non-lethal implements. And we do want to save as much of our money as possible, for a reason we'll see when we get to the black market. Which we'll be doing right now, but via a different path than we did previously. I mentioned that you can make your way up through to the black market and the apartment above this way. But I didn't actually show it off as Emily, so here you go. Also, Mindy has really good eyesight. But we won't be helping her this time. She's better off not associating with our psychopath Corvo. And mostly I just didn't want to bother with doing this side quest again. It's not like the rewards are all that great. So this is a basic upgrade coming in very handy right there. The level 2 strength allows us to bust through wooden doors with only our sword strikes.
Welcome.
It doesn't help with those metal doors though. Those we'll still have to get around the old-fashioned way. So yeah, another nice thing about this game's New Game Plus mode is that any blueprints you picked up in previous run-throughs automatically carry over. And that's why we acquired 200 coins when picking up that previous blueprint. We don't need it for an upgrade, so to make it actually have a use, you get some pretty decent coinage. So with all of those upgrades available, we will be making a few purchases here. Although not as many as I'd like. Even though we have every upgrade under the sun available, we are still quite limited by the number of coins we actually have. Which will be especially limited since I'm not going to be nearly thorough as exploring the levels with Corvo as I was with Emily. But still, we can pick up quite a few useful upgrades. The best one for a lethal playthrough especially, and one that if you're doing a new game run you don't get to enjoy until way later in the playthrough, is an upgrade to your coat that basically halves the damage you take. So very useful if you plan on abandoning stealth. So let's head on over to the Wall of Light and check out that one scenario we saw last time. Previously we saved the dude, although the game, annoyingly enough, didn't actually recognize it. It's supposed to show up as a special action, but it didn't for whatever reason. I guess because it wants me to knock out the gods rather than just disabling the Wall of Light, but that is just stupidly particular.
I told you what would happen if you reported me. I warned you. Please, you get me worse. Please? It's too late for that, Rapallo. Guess what happens next? No!
This is perhaps the most fun you can have as a lethal character, at least one that has access to Domino.
I can smell the stench of the void.
There are so many situations in a high chaos run where NPCs are just utter dicks to each other, and you can end up causing a real Cask of Amontillado situation with Domino. Or am I thinking of Mask of the Red Death? Some sort of short horror fiction work would be appropriate to be referenced here. Anyway, though I'll be skipping the majority of the collectibles, I'll still be picking up the convenient ones.
I've seen cities.
Yada yada yada, just give me my runes, thank you. So, let's approach this street up ahead in a more direct fashion than we did as Emily. Just disable the Wall of Light and trot straight on forward. It's time to show Kanaka exactly why we're wanted. That said, we will still be using stealth to our advantage. You can just go in guns blazing, be the loudest man in Dunwall, and do just fine, but, well, I'm saying you in the general sense. For me in particular, I can't do that shit. I'm no stealth gamer BR. So don't be surprised if I lame my way through things on occasion.
More Grand Guard soldiers, lapdogs for the Duke.
Case in point right here, although at least I'm showing off just how useful Domino can be. Especially if you've upgraded it to be able to mark multiple targets. 3 patrolling guardsmen? No biggie, just kill one and the rest are gone as well. Now this orange filter here, this is the Bloodlust upgrade that we picked up. Or Aggression, or whatever it's called. By killing and damaging enemies in open combat, you end up building up stacks of adrenaline, that's what it's called. And this allows you to do special kill moves by holding or double tapping triangle. The double tap in particular allows you to take down multiple targets at once and is so useful in situations like this.
They all died. Yeah, there was some old man screamed and blubbered like one of them was the last woman in the Isles. Tried to throw her a bouquet of wild mimosas. They had to drag him away.
There we go. See? Handy. They even give you a little bit of time slowing down there to make sure that you can aim your follow-up strike. At this point I'm just kind of a bit confused because clearly someone noticed me, but I'm really not sure who. It's unlikely to be the overseers because they're currently paying attention to pontificating to the populace. It's really hard to get their attention, at least from this side of the street. But yet I clearly have been spotted by someone. It may have just been one of the civilians, I'm still not sure. Anyway, heading up to this apartment, we see things are a little bit different. Quite a bit more dire. This is another effect that high chaos has versus low chaos. In addition to things being more grim and people being just kind of bigger jerks, disease and stuff tends to spread easier as well. And that means you tend to find more bloodfly nests. In this case, the doctor was not successful at curing people's bloodfly fever.
Within the abbey, who was banished during the rat plague. His name may not be spoken, and all written record of his existence has been erased, so grave were his errors. To fall from the pinnacle of discipline to the muddiest ditch of disgrace, that is his tale. To once wear the cloth of the overseer, and to later bear the heretic's brand across the flesh of...
This is what I mean by combining powers in fun ways. Although that was more power with equipment, but you know what I mean.
Help me! Someone! Anyone!
Are you sure you're okay with anyone helping you there, buddy? Because I might have a funny way of helping you.
Even though I don't fully understand the situation, we'll wait for the Vice Overseer.
When should Byrne arrive?
He's engaged.
So there is some fun that you can end up having with powers, but in a lot of situations, I'm just not creative enough to really do that. In which case, it's just time to whip out the good old Tokyo Tomare. This seems to be some sort of interrogation room. This being some poor bastard that they killed. Well, that's none of our business. We have no idea what this is about. But let's make use of his corpse nonetheless.
I shall not abide the footfall of a blasphemous wanderer.
I wish I could find this overseer, but he's probably directly beneath me or something, so let's pick a different target. Don't worry, we won't do anything fatal to them. Just a bit of fun japery. It's just a prank, bro. Don't be too upset. So, this right here, this is another one of the enhancements that we picked up. Boosted reflexes or something like that. You'll have to forgive me that I don't remember its exact name. It does exactly what you just saw there. When you are spotted by an enemy for the first time, you are given a brief moment of slowed down time. You don't move faster within that slowdown time, but it does give you a few extra seconds to think about exactly what you want to do. And maybe deal with things before they become too chaotic. I'm actually questioning my choice of picking it up because as useful as it can be, it can also be very annoying. A lot of times you'll end up being spotted and you'll have no idea where the guard who spotted you is. So you'll basically spend the entirety of that few seconds of slowdown time just kind of slowly, sluggishly panning your camera around trying to find them.
Addermeyer's Station. This should take me out to the Institute.
So we mostly ignored the station as Emily. Not so as Corvo.
No need to cover your face.
Oh, you're so kind. Have my thank you. God, I just love how ridiculously brutal the killing animations in this game are. Anyway, as I was saying, we mostly skip through this area as Emily just going right over the top of it, but as Corvo will be entering it directly. Going in guns or crossbows perhaps blazing. But let's catch our breath here for a moment, give ourselves a bit of an advantage. Disable that wall of light so we don't have to worry about backing into it accidentally. If I had thought to pick up a rewire tool, I could have made it hostile to the gods, and a useful aid for me, but I wasn't really thinking about things now, was I? Don't worry, there will be plenty more walls of light in future missions for me to show off. For now, with all the gods alerted, let's just take them down with our good old sword tricks. Is it just me, or did that god sound more satisfied than anything? Oh, if you're wondering why I'm sneaking here, it's because I wasn't sure if these guards over here had been alerted or not. There are some guards over here, by the way. They even have a conversation. That's one of the things you miss if you end up going into an area guns blazing. I'll try and be better about showing them off in the future.
Anybody? Don't make me search the whole place.
So this station actually has 2 floors, and if you're trying to go through here the direct route, this is what you want to do in order to stealth through. Make your way up to the 2nd floor some way, just because it has a lot less guards. It gives you a much better vantage point for approaching the carriage. Of course, if you are willing to be violent, you can just cut off the guards' heads up here and be just fine.
Come on, let's finish this.
See, we took a direct hit from that admittedly common guardsman and we barely took any damage. That's that Kodama upgrade coming in super handy. Without it on very hard, the guards are pretty lethal. With it, we can take quite a few hits. And it's been a while since we've had a friend, so let's take Hetty on some adventures. See what kind of tricks we can get up to with our newfound friend. Here's a note that we never did see as Emily. I'm probably not going to bother transcribing it just because, too much effort. It doesn't say anything too profound anyway. So, this is one of those moments where I'm just kind of... I didn't really plan out exactly what I wanted to do at this point, so I was trying to think of what I could possibly do. And that's when I get spotted and I'm just like, you know what, screw it, let's just get on to the Addermeyer Institute. But this time, we will be bringing along a friend. In you go, Hetty, you're coming with us. Sadly, I don't think he'll survive the loading screen transition, but we did the best we could.
Where is he?
Wait, where is he? This man who caused all this noise and who left via the only possible exit. Where is he? Anyway, yeah, that's Appendix 2. Discussing New Game Plus and showing off just how different a lethal playthrough can be.